All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new stream with Svetlana, with my colleague from Florida. How are you, Svetlana?
I'm great. And today we're going to look into how and when our logic goes away and what happens when we don't have a competency to stop and look at the things from the neutral perspective. Because we constantly live in our heads, we know that, and the panic attacks and the problems all happen because we imagine things before they happen. So today we're going to talk about our imagination, about our sense of safety, about our sense of how to analyze things, and how to create an analysis that lead to the action, not to panic and dissatisfaction and loss of energy and will for life sometimes even. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll be talking about the very important competences like the analysis, the skill of staying calm, yeah, seeing the facts and making clear decision. And Utah, welcome to the show as well.
I want to bring in the idea that people are very, very scared of things that they don't know. We are born to know things. We are innate knowers. But in order for us to know anything, we need to go through the experience of knowing. And at the end of these experiences, we become the knower with the new information. But what's ahead of us is unknown again. There is never a moment in which we know everything about everybody and everything and all the results of all the decisions that we make. We can only see it after the experience. But the experience is the bridge between the knower and the known, things that you can know. And that bridge is very shaky, very narrow, and it's very scary to start walking on that bridge. So how does it work for you people? What makes you do the first step toward the unknown? I know for me sometimes there is something very interesting. Even if I have to pay for those things a lot of money, and I don't know what the result of that would be or how I can monetize the new knowledge, at least I will try to learn and see how I can integrate. But I also know some of my colleagues never go to the next level of education or the next level of expansion, because if I put all this money and they don't come back to me, what kind of business would that be? That would be a business of failure. But the truth of the matter is, we are not making money in our life. We are making life. This is the most important acknowledgement that I understand for me, that life is the most expensive commodity that you have, the time of your life. And if this life is dull, if you're living neither here or there, if you're always on the bridge, there is not a moment in your life when you feel fully, because one foot is here, the other one is there, and we're always shaking. There is no balance or harmony. So how do you do that first step? What makes you feel that you are okay, that you can go to unknown and come out on the other side alive with all your faculties intact?
Yeah. And once you were talking about money, and we really need to understand that a bit echo, but on your computer, there's still on or off?
Off. My computer is off.
Okay. All right. I will talk a bit slowly.
No, I'm gonna try one more trick. Let's see how it works.
Yeah, let's see if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's great. Yeah. And I really want to add some stuff about the money, that people, they lose the money not because we are stupid, yeah, because we are like in a panic. We cannot analyze things. And it's very important skill that we really can and have to develop. And analysis, we really need to understand it, not thinking a lot, because most of us, we think if we think a lot about one thing, it will get us closer to our results. But should be something structural. Yeah, we really need to know how to separate the facts from emotions, because once we have emotions, we all have this ability to right away move ourselves into our subjective reality. And we'll be talking a lot about subjective reality, objective reality, and analysis is also always in objective reality. We also need to see the cause and effect when we go through analysis, and we need to choose the right step, yeah, without the chaos, because when we're in emotions, full of emotions, we cannot make right decisions. And that's why with Svetlana, we're very experienced in crisis managing stuff, in on all level, in relationship, in your business. But today we're talking about, in general, how to analyze things and how to prevent all our causes in our lives. But if it happened already in your life, you can be very, like right now, you can be really sure right now that we can help you to go through any kind of crisis, because in my life right now I've been working with all kind of crisis for only daily routine with all kind of business people, people that really can improve the life other people. I'm talking about teachers, because even teachers, they can go through the crisis. And crisis, it's very important to understand that we can avoid. And today we'll be talking about the analysis. And sometimes it's not very interesting analysis. We think about like analysis. I don't have this kind of ability to think, but we will go deeper in details, and you're gonna see it's very easy to use it in our daily life. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you live. Once you understand this little step, how to start analyzing things, your life will change completely.
And sometimes we do not try things because there is no decision to try things. There is many different options and many different opportunities and many different ways to look at the situation. We have diagnostic tools, me and Vasili, from all different sciences, and diagnostics help a lot. But what if you don't have diagnostics? What if you really are not a person with an analytical mind? What do you do? Because the cause and effect is not that clear. We usually see cause and effect if it's immediate. For example, you ran, you stumble upon something, you fell, and oh, that's stumbling block. But maybe the cause was not in the stumbling block, but maybe in your vision, or maybe in your impulsive movement, or maybe because your mind was something somewhere else. I once completely cut my chin because my people in my car were arguing, and they continue arguing as we were coming out of the car. I was all involved with their arguing. It was not about me or with me, but I was there. While I was getting out of the car and putting the aqua lung, the breathing tank for going to dive, I completely went with them. They went and continued talking and arguing, and my mind was not here where I was having this heavy tank. And I was standing very stable, and next minute I saw me on the floor in the corner of the concrete building. Why? Because I was not here present for me, I was somewhere else. And that happens a lot when our mind is not in a situation, but somewhere else where that situation may be happening, and it might not even be relevant for us. So first and foremost, the analysis starts from the moment of silence, the moment of understanding. This is the situation right here, and this is me, which is not the situation, which is not inside the situation. I always have an ability to step outside of the situation, and I don't even need to do anything physical. All I need to do is just mentally disconnect from what's happening and look at it as a picture, not as what is it about me, but what is happening there. Okay, two people are angry at each other, great. Maybe not so great, but I have nothing to do with that. I am here, and what can I do for me to protect myself? Or what can I do for me to be positively involved in that? So the analysis are not about being cold. It's not about you don't like me, you don't love me. Very often our people around you say, you're so cold, like you look at things and no emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. I feel the energy in motion, and instead of going, I'm going, okay, where can I take that energy? And what can I do with this energy that will help not only these people, but me? Why? Because if there is something outside of you which is not optimal, if the crisis is happening, it's never about you. It's never about other people either. There are many components. And the cause and effect is not very evident unless you stumble and fall and blame the block. Therefore, analysis help you go to the core of the issue. What exactly is happening? Why is it happening? And if I don't know why is it happening, that's still okay, because I can analyze the happening process. And within the happening process, there are gaps. Things are not happening one after another after another. There are the moments of gaps in which you can still stop. So the first recommendation I make for you today and for my clients, if anything is happening, don't look at it as a snowball that's gonna roll over you. Look at it as the increments of movement of that snowball, and where you can step in, where you can step out, where you can look at it as the happening, not as me happening with it or it happening to me. So the separation between life happening to me and me having life is very, very important distinction, which helps you come from the myth that you are a super doer, that you're God for everybody, that you're a savior for everybody, and that you're responsible for everything, and that you can change everything. All that you can do is change your relationship with the snowball coming at you as if it's just coming, and you can be on the other path.
Yeah, 100%. It's very interesting. Like, you every time, like Svetlana, you use this kind of um technology to describe like the tough stuff in our life using like the simplest sam examples. And I really like your way, your approach to explain this kind of things, because all this kind of psychological stuff is boring. It's boring. It's not interesting. But the way you do it, it's incredible. Every time I really impressed. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
and I hope
Svetlana.
that people can see those things, those pictures, because I'm a storyteller. I am an
Yeah,
analytical person, but I believe the story of our life is just a story. And if you can bring it into metaphorical understanding, if you can bring it to the storytelling, that you can tell your story differently, and the life will be so much easier. Happy.
100%. 100%. And if you guys ask us, what does it mean to have this kind of competence as analyzing things? And if we look at your date of birth, number three is responsible for analyzing. Yeah, and this is the competence. But what happens if you don't have it? I don't have this number. Svetlana, do you have a number three in your matrix? Also, we don't have it. But of course, we can get this competence through our professional realization. For example, if you were engineering stuff or something with financing, you can develop this skill. But what happens if you don't have this opportunity to go to this professional path and to work on this competence, and you don't have a number three in your life? We have a calendars. We have a special calendars that help us to work on this energy. And we're talking about the energy, even the analyze things. This is the ability to use the energy of the day, of the month, or even the year. For example, if your personal year is number three, you have a big chance to feel this kind of energy of analyzing things in a different way that you used to do it in like in previous year. And we're talking about number three in our matrix. Sometimes people they have even two threes. In, for example, who was born on 31st of March. Yeah, I have my client. She was born on 31st of March. She had like two threes. Yeah, in her matrix. And for example, she was born as a number four, with creative type of thinking. But her ability to analyze things help her to create incredible things. And you can see the result on my wall right now. She's like did it for us as a present, as a gift, because we help her to understand herself using her analyzing approach, to ability to analyze analyze things a bit faster. Oh, it's a bit tricky for me to use this kind of analyzing things. Yeah, and that's why Svetlana is very powerful in storytelling. I also practicing my stuff, analyzing her way to do it. You see, guys, how we can look and learn from other people that around us. It's very important to understand where you are. And we have a Svetlana Telegram channel where you can join us and be with us a bit closer. Where can we share all our information regarding your day, your energies, and we'll start starting when, Svetlana? Very soon or tomorrow? Like delivering the.
We have that already in the channel. We're putting things in. So because we are different time zones, you might have not seen it yet. Because the energy of the day, what is the energy to begin with? We are like bulbs, electrical bulbs. We need to be switched on. So when you wake up, sometimes you're not switched on because you are not part of the flow. You've been out of the flow, out of connection with the people, out of connection with your business, with your family. Because while you're sleeping, your mind sort of sleeps, at least your conscious mind. But the body is still working. It still needs electricity. So in the morning, it is highly recommended to move, to walk, to do the exercises. So you connect with your body. I actually do exercises where I connect to my physical body, because physical body is disconnected from the psyche in the morning. So the faster you connect, the more connection you have on a physical level, the faster you can switch yourself on. But we are switching on into situations in life. Why do you think people go into conflict, scream at each other? Because it's an energy. When you are screaming, you release a huge amount of energy that a person who's standing next to you receives. So whether it's an angry energy or a happy energy, it's still energy. Therefore, people in a big crowd go crazy because it's energy. Whether it starts with a positive, finishes as a negative, starts with a negative, finishes with a positive, we're constantly consuming energy. So in order for us to be okay in life, we need to understand how to find the energy, how to analyze the energy around us, how to find the energy that feeds us, how to disconnect from the energy that drains us, and use what we have to generate more with that, because we're doing something that connects to us, to our interest in life, to our abilities, to our competencies. For that, we have our birth date. We have a day with the numbers, the month with the numbers, the year with the numbers. Together, they have different combinations. So there are many different methodologies with the numbers, because people were using numbers, symbols for energy for millennia. So today we have a modern understanding of that, and we have ancient understanding of that. And in order for us to be successful in life, we need to work on the crossroads of modern and ancient. We cannot just go to ChatGPT and now our brain is not working, we have somebody else's intellect working for us, because our intellect dies. We need to, even with the ChatGPT, we need to read the answers and we need to analyze that, because many times I caught my friend hallucination, because yes, it can search the web and it can analyze really well, but ChatGPT doesn't have a real life experience and real life connection with people. That's why connecting to real people is very important. That's why we're doing those broadcasts, because sometimes people don't understand. It's a new technology, the OpenAI and all of that, relatively new. And before then, people were using their own intellect. And because we're so different and we have different numbers in our birthdays, we have different competencies with different types of thinking, different approach to life. And when that happens, you can learn from each other, like Vasili was explaining. And you can learn from this feeling. Is intuition enough? When you feel things, is it enough? Yes, intuition is a great source, but you need to analyze what you feel. Because, for example, if you got a bit of a cold, your intuition will be colored with that. If you had an argument with your boss, your intuition will be covered with that, because intuition is based on the physical experience of the body, which is a great instrument. But then we have a new technology, neocortex, relatively new to the relationship of the body, and the neocortex can make tricks. It could hallucinate, just like a new technology. ChatGPT is the neocortex of the whole humanity. We have experience as human beings. ChatGPT does not have an experience. It has an experience through our experience. It goes through what you tell it, analyzes it with the other things that it finds, and matches it and says, you are a great strategist. You are a great analytical mind. It only trusts your words, which you might not be very clear about your competency. That's why the first analysis for me always starts from the analysis of person's competency. right? That's what we do first.
Yeah, and really need to understand that people who was born like after 2000, we have different number of competencies. And so that's why we really need to understand we're all different. We have nine different type of thinking. We have all nine different competence in our matrix. But in order to succeed, we really need to know how to activate them. And so with Svetlana, for the last 4 years, we've been working very active in this way to help people activate their competences. And the first thing that we start working with our body. But as Svetlana was explaining, all this kind of relationship with our energy, body, physical body, conscious, our conscious world, subjective reality, objective reality, it's difficult to understand at the first place. But when you start like okay, I really need to understand something new, something revolutionary that's it's like clear as a day we have on our table, because we all really understand that old school doesn't work anymore. And that's why what kind of analysis, this is the best way to start like analyzing things. And do we need to go to the school to really implement or activate this competence, Svetlana? What do you think? Do you really need to open the new school, like
School
new era?
helps a lot because school makes you analyze your homework and do it. School makes you hear what the teacher is saying and learn how to translate it for your body, for your psyche. School helps you to be consistent. So being uneducated is not highly recommended. But your life gives you, you have a school of life. By the way, it is also reflected in your birthday. For example, your first number, your day of birth, gives you a personality type. But then the next number, the month of your birth, is the school of life. And through that archetype, through that energy, you can understand every person around you. Because when you, for example, my school of life is about how to make choices. Because my month is 6, and that is an archetype about relationship with people and making choices within those relationships. So the challenges come from relationships for everybody, because that's how we live. And then the solutions also come through relationships, but only when I'm trusting my choices. But in relationship, we succumb to other people's choices. And what happens in this moment, we lose, because choice is always about losing other opportunities and having one opportunity. And then we blame other person because we went with their choices, which is easy because we are not responsible. But the truth of the matter is every number has a meaning. So for example, today is April 2nd, and it's 2026. So we can analyze even this day by the numbers that are in this day. For example, April, and in our calendar, there is an ability to calculate for you, there is an instruction how to calculate your personal day, your personal month, and your personal year. Why? Because you have different energy from me, from Vasili, from your family. You need to understand which energy is yours. But for example, the energy of this particular day, because it's 2, it's about talking to people, creating relationship with people, connecting with people in a way that you can create a partnership, but not a partnership in which you lose yourself. And what number 4 is telling us about is that you can look into this relationship from the perspective of the month and find how to know this person, how to go deeper into it, how to understand their goals, their ideas, how to help them to align with you. Because maybe your goals and ideas and the person who's next to you, living and sleeping in the same bed, have different ideas. So we use questions to get deeper into connection with the person. And that's what this particular day and this particular month is about. But then we have a year, 2026. If you put them all together, we'll do 2 and 6 is 10. And in our calculations, we use only single digits. So we will come to 1. And 1 is about something new. So maybe today you have a new conversation with somebody that you know forever, in a way that you ask questions and understand them for the first time. Or maybe you create a new relationship, or maybe you set a strategy of how you can talk and connect with other people so you can have your goals fulfilled. But this is just one way of analyzing it, and this is the way that shows you the rhythms of life. It shows you how you can use the energy of the day, the theme of the day, to do things, to give yourself a status. Because in relationship, who are you to this person? If you're a parent, you tell children what to do. If you're a child, you listen. So this calendar and this way, this approach shows you the status and the rhythm of your life. But as a storyteller, I cannot minimize the importance that there are archetypal stories in our life. And this year, 2026, is also archetypally is the year of financial growth. This is the archetype of Wheel of Fortune. And you know, the Wheel of Fortune does not consider your education or your good behavior or anything else. It's a chance. And when you make a choice, this is also a chance, coming to my school of life. And if I make the choice that brings my Wheel of Fortune all the way down and it sits on me and I cannot breathe, that was the choice I made, cause and effect, many years ago, not necessarily just today. And so this is where analysis becomes so important. And we analyze also with the 9 categories. So we analyze how the strategies, how the relationships are, is there an analysis, is there a goal to this, and all of that. But archetypically, today is also April, didn't go anywhere.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right? It's the same, but it's just a different way of looking at it. And in this particular archetypal story is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And to move through this bridge is very hard. That's what we're talking about today. And the decision must be made, because if you're hanging, if you're dangling there, neither here or there, your life is lost in that dangling. So how do you go through the months with both of these, for example? Well, you tell yourself a story. Once upon a time, I lived in this castle and the door was locked. And one day I understood that it's very safe and it's cool. It's very cool within this castle. And outside may be very hot and maybe there is a battle. But if I continue living there, I will never feel the hot. I will always feel the cool. So cool me opens the door, comes out, it's very hot. I go, wow, what can I do? My body goes crazy, my mind goes crazy. I go, stop here, analyze. What do I need to do to survive in this climate, in this battle, in this road? And off I go. And what happens then? The energy of the months, of the year, of the day takes me there, because it's there. It's a planetary influences into my body. But here I have a cool analysis that came from that castle where I was sitting and learning. And as analytical as I can be, I go to the hot battle, and I come out on the other side alive. And that's the story of our life. It happens every day. So understanding those influences help, but also understanding what do I innately have within my body, how my intuition works, is based on these numbers. That's why having a personal consultation, for example, not just always listening to free broadcasts, interesting, but what do I do with that is particular to you. How your calendar works is particular to you. What kind of day are you having is also particular to you. And how your intuition could be interpreted is a science. It's not just, wow, I feel that, there must be that. It must be that for you in this moment. 5 minutes later might be different. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And really invite you guys to know your date of birth a bit better, different from other sites, because it's not only numbers in your passport or birth certificate, and you really can ask like for availability of Svetlana or me, for example, for the next week. We have a couple spots just to go for private sessions, because it's always in details. Yeah, we're just talking with you in private mode and really can create a strategy for you, how to go from point A to point B without losing your energy, start analyzing things in order to save your energy. Because the most important thing in our life, this is my energy. Because if you have like if you're like fully energized, like with the energy, you really can see other things that other people cannot see it. And you can be the same height, the same level, but you can see other things. And that's why I really invite you to really understand your personal calendar and your power that is like coded in your date of birth.
And understanding where you're coming from, because the first analysis you can make of this date. This is one thing that you are born with. It's a stamp. What planet was looking at you with the smile, and what planet was hitting you with the heat, and what kind of light was shown upon you. And once you understand that, you can also look into your archetypes and understand how you navigate that. Because archetypal psychology that I'm practicing is the way of the hero. You are the hero of your life, nobody else. Even though everybody tells you where you need to go and what you should do, it's still very much dependent on you. And you come from very simple needs, very simple needs. I need to survive, so my body has to be safe. And I need somebody to make relationship with, because we're social beings. I need to feel warm, and I need to connect, and I need to talk, and I need to express myself. And then I need to make some material results from all my efforts, because I live in material world. What do I do? Lots of people are coming with the question, what is my calling? Your calling is to survive. You've been called to this harsh environment to survive. The next level of your calling, once you've survived, what can you do for that place to make it better? And everyone has their own archetypal journey within this. And then how can I be expressing myself? Because we are made in the image of God. At least all holy books says that. I truly believe it. But the image of God is not that the God is like us, a human being on a cloud. The God is the aspects of creative energy in the process of creation, creating itself. All time, universe is expanding and creating itself through the impulses, through the distractions, through the big creative impulses that create the next destruction. So this is the same thing as above, so below. We go through the crisis, we experience the destruction, then we experience construction, then the next destruction comes, so we can have the new construction. And if we do not analyze the tower that we're building, we can end up with Babylonian tower where nobody understood anybody and everything fell apart. So the programs we create is to help you to connect with real human beings, experience human beings with a lot of education, but also a lot of education from the people we're working with. Because when I talk to people and I understand their school of life, I show them this is the lesson and this is the teacher. Why this person is always talking to me like that? Because it's your teacher. Because look at your school. You needed this person because you're not having a good education in the school of life, and it's extremely expensive school, but for some people necessary. And how many times you lose your fortune, or you lose the relationship, or you lose the opportunities, is how many times your exams were not passed. In school, if you fail exam, you go to the next, you don't go to the next level, you go back to where you were. In life is the same thing. You don't pass this year exam. If your birthday is coming 45 days before that, is exam time. You will be given one task after another. And if you do not go through this exam, the next year will be very similar to what it was. Meerkat kind of thing. The same.
100%. That's why, guys, stay tuned with us. Join our Telegram channel, and we're looking forward to answer all your questions. We can answer to all your questions, and I'm not joking.
And we can teach you to answer your own questions. If you understand your competency, you know what are the strong part of you and what is the part you cannot rely on. Maybe you hire somebody else for that. That is, even this saves you so much time and money. When you understand what you can trust, that intuition that you're talking about, you can analyze your intuition and see where the intuition lies, just like ChatGPT. But there is a lot of good things in intuition, and you need to know which ones.
100%, 100%. Thank you so much, Svetlana, for your time, for your expertise, for your storytelling approach. It's always very exciting.
And thank you for bringing the structure to the system. And we will resume. Every week we meet. Please stay tuned and ask questions. Give us your date of birth if you have questions. Looking at that date of birth, we will give you an answer. That's your choice. Make a choice that works for you.
Yes. Thanks. Ciao.